So let me ask you something. Think about the best team you've ever been on. And what made it great? I bet it wasn't the strategy. It wasn't the resources. It was probably trust.
And now think about a team where trust was missing. Everything felt harder, didn't it? Decisions took forever, people held back, and nobody wanted to take a risk.
And that's what we're unpacking today, how to build the kind of trust that makes teams unstoppable. Welcome to today's episode of the Raise Your Bars podcast, Building Trust on Your Team. We're diving into why trust is the currency of leadership and more to help you grow as a leader. I'm Al.
And I'm Chris. Today we're going deep on trust, what it actually looks like, why most leaders underestimate it, and some practical things you can start doing this week to build more of it on your team.
And here's what you can expect. We'll talk about why trust is the foundation of everything on a team, how trust starts with you as a leader, and then we'll get into real strategies you can use to build and even repair trust with the people you lead.
And we've got some stats and some quotes to back it all up. So let's jump in. Al, I want to start with a number. A study from the Harvard Business Review found that people at the high trust companies report 74% less stress, 106% more energy at work, and 50% higher productivity compared to people at low trust companies. Now, those numbers are staggering.
They really are, and it makes sense when you think about it. When trust is high, people aren't spending energy watching their back or second guessing each other. They're focused on the work, they're collaborating, and they're moving fast.
Exactly. Now, Patrick Lencioni put it really well in one of my favorite books, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. He said that trust is the foundation of the whole pyramid. Without it, you get fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and eventually no results.
And here's the thing that most leaders miss: trust isn't just a nice to have, it's a performance multiplier. When trust is low, everything takes longer. Every email gets over analyzed. Every meeting has a meeting after the meeting, and you end up managing politics instead of managing progress.
Yeah, and I've seen that firsthand. I once worked on a team where the leaders said all the right things about collaboration, but behind closed doors, decisions were already made.
Hmm.
Now, people caught on fast, and once that trust eroded, it was like trying to run through mud. Everything slowed down.
Yeah, that's such a good picture, Chris, and it really highlights something important. That trust is fragile. It takes time to build and it can be lost in a single moment, really. Stephen Covey said it well: trust is the glue of life. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships.
So if you're listening and you're wondering why your team feels stuck or slow or maybe disengaged, before you look at strategy or process, ask yourself, is there a trust problem?
All right, so trust matters. We've established that, but here's the next question. Where does trust start? And Chris, I know you feel strongly about this one.
I do. Yeah, trust starts with a leader, period. You cannot ask your team to be vulnerable, to take risks, to be honest, if you're not modeling that yourself. It starts with you.
100%. And I think the first piece of that is self-awareness. Do your words match your actions? Because your team is always watching. And they're not listening to what you say nearly as much as they're watching what you do.
Now, there's a great quote from John Maxwell on this. He says, people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision. So if your team doesn't trust you personally, they're not going to trust you where you're leading them.
Yeah, so let's get specific on that. What does it look like to be a trustworthy leader? Well, the first thing is follow through. If you say you're going to do something, do it. I mean, that's where integrity comes into play, right, Chris? Right? Every single
Mhm.
time you do it. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. Those small commitments, I'll send that email by Friday. I'll bring that up in the next meeting. Those are trust deposits. And every time you drop one, that's a withdrawal.
Exactly. The second one is owning your mistakes. And I mean genuinely owning them, not the corporate non apology, not, oh, I'm sorry you felt that way, but actually saying, do you know what? I got that wrong. And here's what I'm going to do differently. That kind of vulnerability is, frankly, is a superpower.
Yeah, and Chris, if we could just, dive into that for just a minute more. I think a lot of leaders think that showing that level of vulnerability is a weakness. but it really isn't, right?
No, it's a complete strength. It's the opposite. It's the same as like asking for help. People see asking for help as a weakness, but a leader should ask for help if they need it, right? Not try and take everything on their own, because they'll end
Hmm.
up dropping the ball, and that's losing trust and credibility. So
Yeah.
vulnerability really is a superpower.
100%. And listen to this, a Gallup study found that only about 1 in 3 US employees
Mm.
strongly agree that they trust the leadership of their organization. 1 in 3. That means 2 out of 3 people are showing up to work without strong trust in the people leading them. And that should keep us up at night.
And before you say anything about that just being the US, that the Gallup poll only studied the US, right?
Hmm.
So it's probably the same or it's very similar in every single
Every
country in the world,
100%.
right?
Yes.
So own that, and the reason that number is so low is, I think, it's because too many leaders confuse authority with trust.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now you might have the title, but the title doesn't give you trust. Trust is earned through consistent everyday behavior.
Yeah, that's so true. And here's one more practical thing. Be honest about what you don't know. Like Chris just mentioned, don't be afraid to ask for help. Leaders often feel the pressure to have all the answers, but when you say, I don't know, but let me find out, or I haven't figured that out yet, what do you think? Guess what? That
Mm,
actually builds more trust than pretending you don't have it all figured out.
absolutely, because it signals that you value honesty over image,
Mhm.
right? And that's the kind of culture where trust thrives.
Okay, so we've talked about why trust matters and how it starts with you, the leader. But now let's get into the how. How do you actually build trust with the people on your team? Chris, what's your number one?
Well, that's easy. I'll give trust first. Don't make people earn it from zero. I think a lot of leaders operate from a default of skepticism.
Mhm.
Prove yourself, and then I'll trust you. But the best leaders, they flip that. They extend trust first and then let people rise to it.
Yeah, I love that. And research actually backs it up. A study published in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that when leaders demonstrated trust in their employees, those employees were significantly more likely to reciprocate with higher performance and greater organizational citizenship. This really is trust begets trust.
Mm, absolutely. The second thing, Al, is communication. I don't just mean more communication, I mean clear, consistent, and candid communication. Say what you mean what you say, and don't change the story depending on who's in the room.
I don't know about you, but I've worked with people that change the story depending on who's in the room. I don't like that at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now that
No.
consistency piece here, it's huge. One of the fastest ways to destroy trust is to say one thing to one person, something different to another. Your team
Mhm.
talks, and when the stories don't match, guess what? Trust evaporates.
Exactly. Number three is psychological safety. Now, this is the idea popularized by Amy Edmondson at Harvard, that people need to feel safe in order to speak up, to disagree, to ask questions, and to even fail without fear of punishment. You have to make it safe for people to be honest with you.
And here's a practical way to do that. When someone brings you bad news or pushes back on your idea, how you respond in that moment matters more than anything you say in a team meeting. If you get defensive or shut them down, or you just taught the whole team that, honesty isn't safe here. And I would even add to that, be careful of your facial expressions and your body language because that could shut down somebody just as easy as your words.
Yeah. But if you say, thank you for telling me that, or help me understand your perspective, what you're doing is you're building a culture where truth can actually travel upward.
Yeah, that's so good. And the fourth strategy is this: recognize and repair trust when it's broken. Because let's face it, folks, it will break, right? Somebody will drop the ball, a miscommunication will happen. And in those moments, you have a choice: avoid it or address it. And the leaders who address it head on are the ones who build lasting trust.
Ernest Hemingway had a great line about this when he wrote, the best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. And I think there's a repair version of that too. The best way to rebuild trust is to show up differently and do it consistently over time.
Yeah, there's no shortcut for that. It's daily, consistent effort.
Yeah. All right, Al, let's land this plane, right? What we're going to do is give you 5 quick things that you can do this week to build trust on your team. Ready?
I'm ready. And number one is have one honest conversation you've been putting off. You know the one, go have it this week.
Number 2, ask someone on your team, what's one thing that I could do better as a leader? And then actually listen to what they say.
Number three, follow up on a commitment you made, even a small one. Show your team that your word means something.
Number 4, the next time someone brings you bad news, respond with curiosity instead of frustration. Thank them for their honesty.
And number five, look for an opportunity to give trust before it's earned. Delegate something meaningful. Let someone own a decision and show them that you believe in them.
And I promise you, if you do even one of those 5 things this week, you'll start to see a shift. Trust grows in small, consistent actions.
And that's going to wrap it up for today, folks. So let me leave you with one last thought. Warren Bennis once said, leadership without mutual trust is a contradiction in terms. If you want to lead well, building trust isn't optional. It's really the whole game.
So true. Now, we've covered a lot today, and trust is the foundation of every healthy team. It starts with you, your follow through, your honesty, your vulnerability, and then it extends to your team through clear communication, psychological safety, and giving trust first.
Yeah, so good. Thanks for joining us today, folks, on the Raise Your Bars podcast. Remember, if you are a small to medium sized business owner and you're looking to increase your profit margins or improve the culture within your organization, then reach out to Chris and I. We'd love to chat with you. And remember, take action on one item today you've learned and apply it. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye for now.